Welcome to your next lesson on changing your last name. This is my favorite part of the journey, when all the hard work of planning is over and you're now married and it's time to make it official by changing your last name. Now, the biggest thing I want you to take away from this lesson is that you must submit your marriage license in order to receive your official marriage certificate. If you or your officiant mails it in, it could take about a week or so to get your official certified copy. So in this lesson, we're going to go over government documents you may need to change your last name on, financial documents, bills, subscriptions, and other places. So, there are 5 major government institutions you're going to want to change your last name with. The first being the Social Security Administration. And in order to change your name with the Social Security office and obtain a new Social Security card, you will need to bring your official marriage certificate, not a copy, as well as your existing Social Security card and your driver's license, passport, or non-driver ID. You'll want to fill out the SS5 form requesting the name change, and the Social Security office will make the change for you for free and mail you a new Social Security card within 10 business days. Now, once you receive your new Social Security card, you will then be able to change any IRS documentation. Now, you must receive your new Social Security card before you can change any tax documentation and information, so make sure that this is your first step. The name on your tax return must match the Social Security records. If they don't, you're likely to get a letter from the IRS about the mismatch. And if you expect a refund, this may be delayed when you'll get it. Remember, the IRS uses your Social Security number for tax purposes, and if newlyweds file a tax return using their new last names, the IRS computers won't be able to match the new name with their Social Security number. And then there's the Department of Motor Vehicles. You'll need to change your last name on your DMV license or non-driver ID. And again, you will need your new Social Security card in order to update your information with the DMV as well. Simply fill out a DMV application for name change form, bring in your original marriage certificate, not a copy, your current driver's license with your maiden name, and your new Social Security card with your new name. Now, keep in mind that each state operates a little differently, so you may get a new license right there, or you may get a temporary paper license while you wait for the permanent one to arrive in the mail. And remember, you can save yourself a second trip if you currently own a vehicle by also updating your vehicle's title while you're there, which we'll cover in a few minutes. Now, you'll also want to change your name with the United States Postal Service, and you will need to fill out a change of address form, which you can complete online or in person at your local post office. If you have a P.O. box or another mailbox somewhere else than the post office, like at a UPS store, you'll want to make sure you make them aware of the change as well. And hopefully, if your passport was still valid before you booked your honeymoon, all you will need to do is fill out the name change form. For passports older than 1 year, you will fill out form DS82, again, DS82, and if your passport is less than a year old, you'll fill out the DS55 form fee, and you won't have to pay a fee. You'll also need to send in your original certified marriage license, so you may want to order a few copies when requesting them. Then you will get a new passport photo taken. You'll write a check or money order for $110 if your passport is older than 1 year. If you want to expedite the process and arrival time, then you'll need to add an additional $60, and if you choose to have it overnighted, an additional $15 to $16. Then mail all of your documents to the USPS Passport Processing Center and wait for it to arrive. Now, while we go over passports in another lesson, I wanted to also add this here so that you can see if you need to mail in for a new passport, where to do that. If you live in California, Florida, Illinois, Minnesota, New York, or Texas, there's an address there. If you live in any other state or Canada, you use the second address. And if you need it expedited, you're going to use that third address. So, moving on to financial documents. You will want to change your name on these documents once you've received both your Social Security card and updated driver's license. And the first place you'll want to update your information is at your bank or credit union. You will physically need to go into the branch in order to change your name. You will need to bring your new driver's license and original marriage certificate in order to change your name at your branch. At that time is when you'll want to discuss and decide upon a joint bank account with your spouse. Either way, you will want to request a new debit or credit card as well as requesting new checks. And when it comes to your credit card companies, unfortunately, each one is going to have a slightly different policy when it comes to changing your last name. So the best thing to do is call each company and ask them how to go about it. Some companies will allow you to call and speak to an agent to make those changes, and some require that you upload your documentation and then they can send you a new card. And if you have any frequent flyer credits, you'll definitely want to change those as soon as possible so that you don't have any issues or discrepancies with your frequent flyer account if you are accruing or transferring miles. And if you are currently enrolled in higher education studies, then another place you'll want to change your name is with your educational institution. This also applies if you're a former student and want to update your alumni information. And what you will want to do is call up the registrar's office and let them know you'd like to change your last name on your records. You will also want to do this if you want your name changed on your degree or your official transcripts. Keep in mind that you will probably need to submit proof, like your marriage certificate, in order to fill out an official name change form for their records. Now, if you have any student loans or finance lenders, you'll want to update them with your name change. And again, this is one that's a little tricky because each company has a different process. Some will let you complete the whole process online, and some will require you to mail in a copy of your marriage certificate, your account number, and proof of name change, which you can usually include a copy of your new Social Security card and driver's license. You'll want to notify each lender and ask them what you must do in order to make that change. Your bills. We can change our names, but we cannot avoid them. I'm going to quickly run down some bill collecting agencies that you may have and also need to change your name with. Your mortgage company, landlord, or leasing agent. Your utility companies like electric, gas, cable, sewer, water, pest control, garbage, and landscaping. Your cell phone company. And if you lease or finance your vehicle, which we touched on this one briefly, but I want to explain it in a little bit more depth for you. If you lease or finance your vehicle, you will want to notify the leasing or finance company in order to change your name on the vehicle's title. Once you change your name with the finance or leasing company, you will then receive an updated title, which you will then use to change this information with the DMV. When you change your name on your vehicle's title, your registration will automatically be updated as well. And while you're at it, you might as well go ahead and call your vehicle's insurance provider and update your new last name with them too, because each provider has a different policy regarding which specific forms you will need to fill out and complete. It's best to give them a call or navigate to their website to see exactly what they require and what you will need in order to complete the process. At work. You'll definitely want to inform your human resource office regarding your name change information, as you'll be required to fill out a new W-4. Also, you may need to change things like your name badge, business cards, and email. You will also want to have them change your name with your medical insurance providers like health, dental, and vision. You will want to send in a form with a copy of your marriage certificate to inform them of the change. And don't forget, while we're discussing medical providers, you'll want to inform any other healthcare practitioners you may have, like physical therapists, chiropractors, massage therapists, etc. And you may want to ask them to include your new spouse on your medical chart so they can have access to your records. You'll also need to complete a name change with any retirement or 401k companies you may be invested in, as well as changing or adding your spouse as a beneficiary to your life insurance policy. And lastly, if you have any professional licenses like RN, MD, CPA, you'll want to update those licenses to reflect your name change. Now, let's not forget about all the subscription services we belong to, because you'll want to update this information as well to reflect the new name on your debit and/or credit cards. And these are subscriptions like magazines or newspapers, if you belong to any national organizations, clubs, or groups, any subscriptions that are mailed or emailed to you, membership services like Sam's Club or Costco, gym memberships, makeup or clothing subscriptions, and delivery services. You'll perhaps want to change your last name on your email subscriptions, any music streaming services you use like Pandora, Amazon, Spotify, and Sirius Radio, as well as any TV streaming subscriptions you use like Hulu, Netflix, Sling, or YouTube. Other places you'll want to consider changing your last name are your social media accounts like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, Google. At retailers like Amazon, eBay, Walmart, Kohl's, Target, and grocery stores. Your voter registration. If you haven't moved out of the country you are already registered in, the county you've already registered in, then you can bring your updated Social Security card and driver's license with you when you go to vote. However, if you move out of the county you are registered in, you'll need to re-register to vote using an updated identification and Social Security card. If you have a last will and testament, you will want to contact your attorney to make any name changes. You may be able to just add the noted change at the end and sign it before 2 witnesses. Otherwise, you'll need to fill out a form to make those minor changes. Also, if you're registered with Global Entry or TSA PreCheck in order to board your flight without having to wait on the lengthy line, you'll want to make sure that you change your last name with them. You'll want to go to your nearest enrollment center and bring in your Global Entry card and new passport, and that's it. Your Global Entry number or known traveler number will remain the same and now be tied to your new name and passport in their system. And the last thing I wanted to mention is to change your name with any veterinarians or groomers you may have for your pets. And heck, you may need to change their last name too. Now to go over some tips to keep in mind when changing your last name. You'll want to make sure you change your name within 30 days after getting married. You will need the original marriage license with raised seal in order to get other official documents. So it's a good idea to order more than one copy of your marriage license. This way you can give the additional copies to places like the DMV and the Social Security office. And make sure you check your state's requirements before applying to be sure you have all the documents you will need prior to filing for any name changes. And lastly, you can always use an online company like Miss Now Miss that can help you go through all the steps necessary to change your name if you'd like a little bit of help. So I hope you've enjoyed this lesson and are a little more comfortable with the name change process, and I'll see you in the next one.